Close enough. Good evening. Glad to see everyone here. So is everybody in their seat? Comfortable? Alert? Relaxed? Can we be both alert and relaxed? It's what in the Indian traditions they call sattvic. Where you're both alert and calm. Mostly we think to be alert, we want to have some coffee and be kind of wired. And if we're going to relax, we conk out. So this is a third possibility, to be both relaxed and alert. But that's what we need to have in place when we meditate. So you don't want to come to meditation exhausted. You don't want to come all frantic and jittery, but you want to be serene, relaxed, and yet at the same time, very intensely aware. That's what we carry into meditation, the awareness. So you can accomplish that by not being hungry, but not being stuffed, by having rested, but not being drowsy. So it's something of an art and a science, really, to arrive at your meditation seat in a condition that is conducive to meditation. So it takes a little engineering of your life to make that happen. But definitely very important part that we usually don't talk about. We just assume, okay, I'm here, now we'll meditate. But the organizing your life so that it's possible is really important. So let's close our eyes and do a brief inventory of your body. Where are you holding tension? Where are you tight or releasing any tension that will distract you? And then turning your attention to the breath. We start with the physical posture. We go one notch up in terms of subtlety and go to the breath. So we want to first just pay attention to the breath. The breath is very central to all these practices because the breath is our handle, our gear shift, really, in terms of affecting the flow of subtle energy. Which has everything to do with electricity and the frequencies being broadcast by our cells to each other and within the cell. And then the main highway of that energy is, of course, the spine. So we naturally begin to pay attention to the spine when we pay attention to the breath. It's like one of those big power lines that's up on a tower running from neighborhood to neighborhood. A main thoroughfare of energy flow. I'm just noticing the flow of the breath. Notice what part of your torso is expanding when you inhale and contracting when you exhale. And also notice which parts of your torso don't expand when you inhale. That's really important. If they don't expand, they're probably screaming for energy. Bring some over here. And when you let the breath move into those neglected parts, things begin to heal. Parts of your body that are not nurtured by the breath because you, for some reason and largely unconsciously, have shut them off. So allowing the breath to find its way into all these little corners and crevices. Which means in those areas, the mitochondria are getting oxygen in, or perking up and producing energy. It's the breath that connects us with the pool of prana, subtle energy, that everybody draws on. Connects us to others regardless of whether we're 6 feet apart or not. Mm. Mm. And now we'll return to a practice most of you now know. Some of you may be new and not know this. But we're going to follow the breath, follow with our attention up the spine as we inhale. Letting your attention sweep up the spine from the tailbone, very lower tip of your spine, up to the crown of your head, timing the sweep of your attention so that you reach the crown of the head as you complete your inhalation, and then following back down from the crown of the head to the lower tip of the spine. On exhalation, again, timing your exhalation. So you reach, timing the sweep of your attention. So you reach the lower tip of the spine at the end of exhalation. Coordinating the attention with the flow of the breath. When you couple attention and the breath, you accentuate that energy. And you can feel the surge of vitality and well-being. And as many of you know, if you want to accentuate this effect, you can add the sound. That is to say, imagining the sound so as you inhale, we say, shortcut, we say, inhaling the sound so. So is a sound that has the quality of moving us upward toward unity with oneness, with the universal consciousness. And then hum following as you come down, as you follow down. Imagining the sound hum, which brings us down to earth, down to incarnation, down with our physical existence on the surface of the earth. So it's a lot to combine, a lot to pay attention to. But if you practice, you can do the attention up with the breath, and then you can add the sound. Inhaling up with the sound, so you can remember soaring upward. And then adding the sound hum as you come back down. Inhaling so up. And exhaling hum. I am that unitary consciousness. I am that. That's what I really am, because that's everything, and I'm part of everything. And I am this person in this body on the earth at the same time. Hum, coming down into hum, being human, resting on the earth, the humus, the hum. So if I can be that and this, then I've gotten somewhere. Inhaling so, exhaling hum. So your spine is like an axis that connects your two identities, one as the oneness, and second as an individual. Or as the Chinese would say, you're connecting heaven and earth. The oneness is an incredible repository of energy and prana, as is the earth. Inhaling up, supercharged, and exhaling down. Also, earth energy, feminine, the goddess energy, flowing up from Gaia, up through your spine, reaching up to reconnect with the oneness, which is universal consciousness. With the supercharge, you might notice some increase in heat in your body. It's quite all right. Just enjoy that for a little while. Or as we used to say in the 60s, you can groove on that for a while. Actually, my teacher used to say, if you practice this kind of meditation, you create a kind of a groove through the spine and up. The energy readily moves through. And then the experiences of your meditation begin to spill over into your life. So you can be supercharged all the time. And enjoy it. I like to say, experiencing this sort of delight of this aliveness is your birthright. And all you have to do is just monitor. There's some part of my body that's tightening up, or some thoughts that are interrupting, or just let those go. Maybe thoughts that are unconscious or semi-conscious. I don't really deserve to feel all this delight. No, that's not true. You do. If you're human on earth, you deserve it. So enjoy it. Disfrutarse. Mm. So who knew that this was inside and available at all times, free of charge? Mm. When your attention wanders, bring it back. The breath tightens up, relax it, open it back up. Following the breath upward with soul, back down with hum. Just remember, we're like electric cars. We need periodically to plug in and recharge. Plug in above, plug in below. Plug in and recharge 20 minutes a day. It will change your life. And your electric bill won't go up. Better than a Tesla. Okay, we're going to begin the process of ending the meditation, but slowly and gently. So first thing we're going to do is the next time we inhale up, we're going to just inhale up to the heart center. And then exhale back down to the lower tip of the spine. And inhale back up to the heart center. And let the attention rest on the heart center. Just notice how that feels. Feels nice, different. If you need a little help to get situated at the heart center, you can remember the seed sound of the heart is yum, 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 yum. After all that delicious flow of aliveness, you can be happy to remember the sound yum, yum. Very yummy. And then from the heart center, we want to extend the attention outward toward the hands, and right and left. up toward the head, down toward the feet. Just not leaving the heart center, but expanding the attention from the heart center. So we retain that centeredness at the heart, anchoring at the heart. And then once you feel you've got that, then you can gradually move your fingers a little bit in your toes and your head, connecting back with the surface of your body and the presence in the room, on the cushion, whatever. But still maintaining your anchor at the heart center. And you can move your hands, your feet. Raise your palms to cover your eyes. It's a good way to do it. Opening your eyes into your palms. Just enjoying the darkness of that. Resting your eyes. And then letting your palms drift down to your lap, keeping your gaze fixed on your palms. And welcome back. And when you're ready, you can begin to unfold your limbs, or if you were sitting on a cushion, if you're on a chair, you can still give your legs a little movement or massage. And be grateful for being in a body and having this skill of meditation. And now, when you are ready, if you have comments or questions, or sharing, or whatever you would like to say, just speak up, say your name, and then say what you have to say.
Hi, Rudyji. It's Carlos in Boston. Just saying thank you.
Yes, go ahead. Glad to see you.
Yeah, just thank you. Thank you very much.
You have a question? Yeah. Or a comment? Or just?
No, just saying thank you.
Oh, okay.
That was, yeah, it was very appreciated.
Yes, I'm glad. Yeah, it's really nice for everybody to get together this way and meditate together. I think it's very powerful, and all kinds of benefits flow from doing it individually and collectively. Benefits.
Hello, Swami Ravi. Thank you for that. This is Jody.
Hi, Jody.
So I was paging through Kali Rising this morning with a friend, and at the end of, I think it was chapter 6, when it was talking about tapas and spanda, I had a really interesting insight that I haven't had before. It says something like, when we do the inner work of, the ascending and the descending currents and keeping the chakras flowing and open, that Kali doesn't have to show up in an external form and kind of like create destruction in our outer worlds. And it was interesting for me because I think that Spanda, or Kali, I know that she represents both a nurturing side and a destructive side. But Spanda, it's interesting for me to reflect on that if Spanda doesn't need to show up in our outer life in a destructive or quote unquote negative way, it's not that Spanda stops happening, but I was curious and reflecting on, well, maybe if Spanda doesn't, get used through that route of destruction, and because we're not doing our inner work, but we are doing our inner work, maybe Spanda shows up in really, really delightful ways, like synchronicities and serendipities. And so I was just curious if you could say something about that.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, well, let me say first, Kali, people say the figure of Kali is frightening and terrifying and so forth, and that she has a destructive side. But actually, what she nurtures, you said nurturing and then destructive, she nurtures us on our path. And what she destroys are the obstacles on our path. Unfortunately for us, sometimes we're very attached to those obstacles. So we experience her intervention as harsh. But it is for us that she does it. And, she meaning the feminine aspect of the universe, which is we anthropomorphize to try to understand it, but that there is that force that both nurtures us, which is a feminine aspect to the cosmos, but also destroys what's holding us back in our evolution and unfoldment. Our own Spanda, meaning spontaneity, but meaning expressing our life force, expressing that energy we just felt going up and down the spine, expressing it in ways that are creative and delightful, as you say, is absolutely our birthright and what we're here to do. There is no real, when you said destructive ways of using Spanda, we would have to say that by definition, if it's destructive to other people and to ourselves, it's not really Spanda. It's some other kind of outburst or habit that takes over. So those distinctions are actually subtle but important. Does that help at all?
So what you're saying is that Spanda is spontaneity, and it essentially always is serving the best good or the highest good of everyone. Yes,
well, that kind of spontaneity, yes, which we call Spanda. Well, the Sanskrit root is Spanda, which comes into English as spontaneous. But we use the word with mixed meanings in English, but in Sanskrit it's strictly the expression that is connected to oneness, that expression that we bring down from oneness into the world. That's truly Spanda. What the mischief we create by bad habits is not related to that.
So just one last clarification. You said Spanda is coming down from the oneness. I thought that Spanda was the yang feminine principle, so that would indicate that it would be coming up.
They come, that's the inner marriage, that's the connection between heaven and earth. She is always rising to reconnect with him. And when that happens, then this is the pure Spanda. That's the creation comes from the unity. The inner marriage then procreates an action that is genuine and wonderful and original and all those things.
Thank you. That was very helpful.
Thank you for asking. Yeah.
Rudyji, it's Arabella.
Yes.
Further clarification, then is it possible for Spanda to occur in the absence of awareness of the intermarriage?
Well, there's awareness of the intermarriage, and then there's intermarriage that's happening that we're not aware of. So we don't always have to think of it that way, but it needs to be functioning that way inside of us on some level.
So is sushumna always open when Spanda arises?
Sushumna is open when we are experiencing that inner connection between him and her, between the descending light of consciousness and the upsurge of vital energy. When those two things are both happening, which is when you're breathing through two nostrils equally, that's sushumna. So by practicing and learning to focus on that point between the nostrils and opening both nostrils, you begin to experience the world in a different way, because you're not experiencing it just from this direction or just from this direction, but you're experiencing it here. And that is a prerequisite for good meditation. It's a prerequisite for enlightenment. It's a prerequisite for moving into the as we say, the integral structure of consciousness, or all these terms we have for that. Yeah. And so it, again, is back to the breath. And some of you may know and some may not, that we breathe half our time, we breathe through the right nostril, then it switches to the left nostril, then it switches back. So we're kind of going between expressing our masculine side and then expressing our feminine side. And, you know, that's kind of a normal human schizophrenia. But when the two come together, then something very different happens. And, you know, at least at the beginning, when they come together, you don't want to try to be acting in the world, because you're not ready to do that. It can be confusing. So we act in the world by either, you know, this or by this, by being by being active or by being receptive. And that's one way of expressing the difference between the right nostril and the left nostril, though it's more complicated than that. But that is just one mode that the human can function in. When sushumna is open, we're in a very different mode, and that's the time to meditate. You can notice it, a lot of times you can notice it at dawn and dusk, when the sun is setting and the moon is rising, and, you know, the sort of in-between state, because this nostril is called the sun and this nostril is called the moon. And when they're kind of equal, then you go into this sort of quiet contemplative space. That's why they say it's wonderful to meditate at dawn and dusk. Those are perfect times, because it's easy to open sushumna. Is that all making sense to people, or is this, well, what is he talking about? If you feel like, what is he talking about, please ask questions so I can make it clearer.
I have a question.
Yes.
You're breathing in through your nostrils, but are you exhaling through your mouth or the nostrils?
I mean, there are techniques and practices that involve both, but normally, especially when we're meditating, we want to be breathing, we want to be inhaling and exhaling through our nostrils. Yes.
Thank you.
Mouth breathing is a different thing, and we do it for special kinds of energy shifts, but not for general meditation. Thank you for that question. It's helpful to clarify. I mean, you know, it's only so much I can say. So I leave certain things unsaid, and then it's room for confusion. So when you ask for clarification, then lots of other people get clarification too. So everybody's questions are helpful. Anybody else? I have a few more minutes. Anybody's has anything on your mind? This is the time. Well, thank you all for coming together tonight and partaking of meditation. And, you know, don't forget, you can do this. You don't have to wait till Sunday night. You can do it any time. You know, simple processes. And the more, just to encourage you, the more you do it, the easier it gets. And the more you enjoy it. And the more impact it has on your life. So even if you just, you know, get up in the morning and sit for 5 minutes, that makes a difference. Or before you go to bed, or whenever, anytime. You know, mornings are a good time because it's kind of still quiet. But if you're groggy, you might want to have a glass of juice, or, you know, walk around the block, or shower or something before you sit. But just, you know, whatever you can do in terms of your life and demands on you, and in terms of your own endurance. You know, well, maybe I can't sit that long. Well, sit for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And gradually you develop a taste for it. And then you want to do it more. And then that's great. Okay, Daryl, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you all. I want to say a special welcome to all those new folks. I see some new names on our screen tonight. So welcome, and happy you found us. And of course, thank you to all of you that show up every Sunday. And delighted to see you.
Or even once a month.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I want to say thank you to all of you that have been supporting us with your generous donations. Yeah. That's very much appreciated.
Thank
you. In this unusual time for keeping things going. So next week we will have probably a talk of some sort. We haven't arranged who that is or what that's going to be, but it'll come out in the announcement, so stay tuned. And what we'll do is, if everyone will unmute themselves, and if you want to unmask yourself and show your faces if you wish, we'll all say thank you and good night. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. So appreciate you.
Thank you, Arabella.
Yes, thank
Everyone.
you. Hosting